Today we're taking a look at the top 5 skills to take in Mordheim when you're playing in a league or in a competitive event. So the top 5 skills, they've been taken into consideration under the presumption that there are no particular house rules that will affect them in any way, because as soon as you include some house rules, these skills will change naturally and some others become better, and the ones that I'm about to tell you about might get worse. Now, the criteria for these 5 is quite simple. How well do they serve your starting warband and the miniatures that actually end up with them? And how well do they scale and how useful are they later on in an event or a league? Now, normally when we look at the rules and skills and stuff, we go on Mordheim.net, and it is where I would advise anyone to go really to check stuff out. But there is a new place that we can go. Well, it's not new anymore, but it's newish, which is Mordheimer.net. Now, this is a searchable site where you need a rule, type it in, it'll find it for you. Makes flipping through the rule book a little bit easier. And it has the collective works from annual, town criers, everything that's legal and not out of this world OP. You will find in there. So we're going to use that as our basis for the skills on this list. Having that said, let's jump into it. At number 5, you will find Trick Shooter. Now, ranged in Mordheim has a little bit of a bad rep, without reason, in my opinion. I do think, and I've said this previously, that comes from a time when we had less terrain and there were less scattered to hide behind. But with the emergence of 3D printers and more access to different suppliers that have terrain, there really isn't a reason why there should be less than 70-75% terrain on your table. And that makes shooting a whole lot worse. Actually, puts it into a box where it should be. It's good if you can make it work, but across the board, melee is better. So, Trick Shooter will help the shooter somewhat to actually get some mileage, because it lets you ignore cover. Little thing to note on the Trick Shooter as well is, in Mordheim, if you shoot at a model and that model gains cover from another model in front of it, if you miss by 1, you will hit the model in front. Now, if you're shooting at someone that's covering their own model, your enemy's warband obviously, you basically have 2 rolls that you can make to successfully hit something. But when you use this, you can't claim cover because you ignore it, so you won't be able to accidentally hit the model in front of your actual target. So, at number 4, we find a duo skills, because they do pretty much the same thing, just in 2 different phases. We're talking about dodge and step aside. Now, armor is being discussed through the ages of Mordheim. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it too expensive? Good has never been mentioned, I think. But is it bad, too expensive? What can improve? I feel like armor is exactly where it should be, because Mordheim is a game about the scum, people who are roaming around, they're finding junk and surviving off that. Easy access to good protection, it isn't available. You make shields out of broken down wooden armor plates, you make your armor out of whatever scrap you can find. It's supposed to be bad. Plain and simple. So that gives dodge and step aside even more value, because it gives you a 5-up save that you will always get as long as you're not stunned, to dodge the bullet or dodge whatever person is trying to hit you in melee combat, and a non-removable, almost 5+ save in an environment where armor saves aren't good is golden, because you get one on top of the other as well. So, at number 3, we find one of my go-to skills, and it's usually the first one I take, but it's a duo, this one as well. It's Resilient and Mighty Blow. Now, I won't say that they do the exact same thing, but they do, but in totally different directions. Resilient makes it so that your opponent strikes you as if he had 1 less strength, while Mighty Blow hits your opponent as if you had 1 more strength. Now, having this on a toughness 3 model makes it really good, because toughness 3, it's an average to wound. Having resilient will usually put you at above average to wound. If you're lucky enough to increase toughness on the model that also has resilient, then you're starting to get silly, because at one point, if the toughness keeps increasing, for those warbands that don't have a generic human stat line, you can actually end up that you are almost uncrittable, because you can't crit if you need a 6 to wound. So resilient, it brings you a long way towards that goal. Now, Mighty Blow obviously makes it easier for you to injure your opponent, because you strike as if you had 1 higher strength. So the two will pretty much negate each other, but both of them are very good skills for any melee-oriented character. Now, the two top skills, they're a little bit hard to place, to choose, because they weren't there in the core game when it came out. They were later add-ons. And in addition to that, they're leader skills, so your leader has to be able to take them, and he has to have academics. And very few warbands have access to that. So the two I'm talking about are, at number 2, you have Hunch. Now, this skill lets you place up to 3 warriors capable of earning experience in any rune building on the board, as long as it's not in your opponent's deployment zone. A few things to notice though. They all have to be deployed in the same building. You can mince words and assume stuff, but wording is clear. All models deployed this way are deployed in one single ruined building. Number 2, it has to be a ruined building. So there's no hiding outside or inside a house or anything else that might still be standing after the comets fall. It has to be a ruined building. Now, those things out of the way, this is a powerful skill, as it lets you alpha strike with your best warriors, or you set up some dudes for some quick pickup of treasures or wordstone. Heck, you can almost win a mission straight out of the box because of where they're placed. Because there is a few missions that says that you just have to move X number of warriors to the table edge and you win the game. Now, at the number 1 skill, we have the one to rule them all, and in darkness bind them. Well, that sounds very, very dark, but it's sort of true. It's Tactician. This skill lets you redeploy after your opponent has set up his models, and you get a 12-inch deployment zone for your whole warband. As I said before, mobility and movement is a key in Mordheim. There are a few things that let you actually gain movement, so grabbing whatever you can to do that is key. A thing to note about this skill is when you deploy first, you get to redeploy after your opponent set up his warband. If you go second when deploying, you obviously don't need to redeploy, but you still get the 12-inch deployment zone. So if you have a leader with academics, those skills are the ones I would absolutely take at number 1 and 2. So that was the, that itches. That was the top 5 skills to take in a league, or if you're going to a competitive event. If there's something you want me to talk about, let me know in the comment field, and thank you for watching. This really itches. Hybrid Wargaming is proud to be sponsored by and partnered with Fogel Pens and Creation. Handcrafted hardwood pens, pencils, and other wooden creations. And GameMat.eu. Turn your tabletop into a battlefield with first-class game mats.